have J. Heath and Company's CEO here, Jude Heath, joining us, CPA. Also, I have Brandon Bergeron, one of the wealth advisors at Gregory Ricks and Associates, the Total Wealth Authority. Let's jump to the callers here. We have Gary from Waveland on our Winning at Life hotline. Welcome to the show, Gary. How can we help you?
I have some Roth IRA and HSA questions for Jude that are intertwined with taxes.
Okay, go ahead. Which one you got first?
Well, the first question on the Roth IRA is all you really hear and read is that you contribute for 5 years, and then after 5 years, you can take out any earnings tax-free, but you never hear what happens beyond the 5 years. In other words, can you continue to contribute to it? If so, what are they the standard IRS limits, or they're different limits? How does it work beyond 5 years?
I'll start off with that, and then I'll let Jude jump in. But here's the one key point on creating a Roth account is getting an account opened and make a contribution to that account, whether it's $50 or your max for the year, depending upon your age, which would be $6,000 for under 50, 50 and over, up to $7,000 on a contribution. But what you've done by opening it and making the contribution, opening the account doesn't get it done. It's when you make a contribution, you start a 5-year clock, which means once that clock's hit 5 years, it doesn't matter how long other money's put in because it falls under the original 5-year clock. So you don't have to leave future money in there for 5 years for the growth from it to come out tax-free. But here's a couple parts to that. You've got to get out to age 59 and a half for it to come out. Now, once again, on contributions or after tax contributions. So those actually can come out any time along the way. But the earnings, for them to go tax-free, you have to have had that account set up for 5 years, and you have to take it out after 59 and a half. Did I miss anything there, Jude?
No, that's right. And I guess what I'm hearing in your question is, after the 5 years, can you still contribute, and can you still use that Roth? And the answer, of course, is yes, subject to your income limits and the other limits placed on Roth contributions. But yeah, if people think that a Roth IRA is a 5-year decision, it's not. It's a lot should be part of your life retirement investing decisions, part of your strategy, if it's available to you.
What you think, Gary?
I'm sorry. What I understood previously was your contributions can be taken out anytime, but the earnings cannot, subject to taxes if you're not at least 59 and a half, and they haven't been in for at least 5 years. But my question is, would there be any reason to have more than one Roth IRA established other than setting one up for a beneficiary? Would there be any other reason to have one? Or more than one, rather.
Brandon, is there a reason to have more than one Roth? I don't see any one Roth unless you're doing it because you're going to treat that with a different style of investing, maybe a self-directed Roth versus one at a firm.
Yeah, I don't see any benefit to having more than one Roth IRA. Like you said, instead for the sole purpose that you are splitting up how that money's invested. But even then, most of the time, you can do that within one Roth IRA anyway.
Used to be you would kind of do that because of the way the interpretation was years ago, that each conversion had its own 5-year period. But the IRS went back and changed that there's only one clock. It's the original 5-year clock. So each conversion doesn't have to wait 5 years. It falls under the original 5 years. So you could do And this also has to do with your 401k and such. Doesn't have to fall under a new clock. So if you're rolling over money, converting money, and adding contributions in, like at age 60, if you did it at 58 and then wanted to start taking it out at 60, well, heck, you set the clock up 30 years ago. So that money and those earnings from that block that was added in later do not have to wait 5 years. It's all the same. And the magic of is just to keep putting money in and create that compounding. Is you get a tax-free $100,000 built up in 10 years, it's going to be 200,000. And if you're at 7%, you're doubling about every 10 years. Now, one of the things he mentioned about adding money, the trick, and there's no limit on age either on adding it. You'd be age 80. What's the trick? You got to have some earned income. I had a gentleman tell me when he was a kid, he was trying to set up a Roth account, and he said, well, I've got money. And they said, well, yeah, but it's got to be earned income. And I said, so where were you getting the money from? He said, I was cutting grasses. I said, yeah, it's got to be money that you paid taxes on is earned income. He said, yeah, I wasn't paying taxes on my lawnmower earnings there. So does that help you, Gary?
Yeah, what a surprise. As far as not paying taxes on lawn mowing earnings, but of course, you said, you made a good point that it has to be earned income, earned taxable income to be able to qualify to set one up. But Jude also mentioned income and IRS maximum contribution limits, and I'm sure those can change at any time, but what are they currently? What is the income limit and the contribution limits currently?
For tax year 2022, if you're married filing jointly, the phase out starts at $204,000, and then you're phased out at $214,000 when you're over that. Single starts at $129,000, and you're phased out at $144,000. Did I miss anything there? There's other numbers for married filing separately and stuff like that. The other thought there is, if you say, well, what do I do to get money into that? Backdoor Roth is a strategy. Now, if you have an IRA, that's not going to work too well. The rule has, the IRS has this rule called pro rata. So if you have a traditional account and money in it, just call it a traditional IRA, and I'll do the backdoor Roth and do a contribution. It doesn't work that way. You've got to have no traditional funds for the backdoor to work. Otherwise, you're doing pro rata, which means, yeah, you can do some of that, but you got to convert some money over as well. So that kind of negates that opportunity. And then there's another one out there that's pretty neat depending on your firm. And this works great for solo 401ks, small firms. And that is the mega backdoor Roth. If your 401k allows after-tax contributions and as well as in service, because then you could over contribute that way to your account, and then you can convert that money over to a Roth. Talking about being able to get a bunch of money in that's one of the best secrets out there about that's allowed in the tax code. Am I good there, Jude?
Yes.
Okay. I know you're proud of me over here, all this tax stuff that we know and share with people.